Jake, good afternoon. It's your turn. How are you today, pal? What do you have?
How you
Jake?
doing?
All right, Jake.
Huge
Thank
fan.
you, buddy. What's on your mind?
Huge fan, especially a big fan of your classic pizza review with Dave Portnoy at Bond 45.
Yeah, I enjoyed that. Yes, I did.
Hey, I
Go
wanted
ahead.
to give my 2 cents about that Zach Wilson versus Coastal Carolina game. I followed him all year. So a couple things you got to remember going into that game. I mean, it was a quick turnaround because the game got scheduled midweek. I think Coastal's game plan was really to knock Wilson around. If you remember at the end of the first half, there's that clip of 94 for Coastal Carolina just continuing to hit him. Now, I don't know how he's going to be able to deal with the physicality of the NFL. I feel like the Jets' best move would probably be to stay with Darnold and maybe go after the lineman, but it seems like they're going for Wilson. I think just keeping in mind about the physicality in the NFL is very important.
Yeah, I think the problem the Jets have, and that's a good call, Jake. I think the problem the Jets have here is if they take Wilson and he turns out to be Darnold, that means they spent 6 or 7 years using high picks. 3rd, Darnold, 2, Wilson. And Darnold, they traded up to get the 3rd pick. That tells you right there that the Jets basically wasted 2 high picks in about 8 years drafting young quarterbacks. That's what it tells you. So, and, in this case, they could trade down with somebody, get extra picks, and still get a big-time player. You get a receiver, get that lineman from Oregon. There are ways to do it, so you have to get this right. The Jets, unlike a few other teams, if Atlanta gets it wrong with Matt Ryan, if they pick at 4, Atlanta, you're going to give Atlanta a little break because Ryan's been a pretty good player for him. The Jets cannot get both of these wrong. Now, there has been examples of teams like Arizona, which, quickly realized that Rosen wasn't the answer and got rid of Rosen and went for Murray. So, teams, have basically jump ship quick on a number 1 first-round pick and, and gone in a reverse course and got out when it getting was good. And that's what the Jets are doing here. But if you do that, the guy you bring in the second time's got to be good. Now, Murray looks like he's going to be pretty good. I don't say he's going to be great, but he's pretty good. Pretty good player. And maybe very, very good down the road. Not very good yet, but has a chance to be. We don't know that about Wilson. And the Jets are going to draft him with that 2nd pick. Here's Kiko in Northern California. He's on Mad Dog Unleashed before we do the update. Kiko, good afternoon. It's your turn. How are you today, pal? What's going on? Kiko.
I'm doing good. Before I jump into the reason why I called, if you took the top 50 high school basketball recruits in the country and had them write down the top 10 basketball colleges they would like to go to, Indiana's not one of them. So
100%.
Indiana needs to understand that they're not what they were. So
100%.
Mike Woodson, unbelievable. I mean, so anybody who's complaining about that needs to have their head examined.
100%. I mean, they would sign, they would put North Carolina, Duke, Kentucky. They might put Gonzaga there right now. They would not put, I completely agree. I'd have to think about 5 or 6 more. Michigan State, maybe. Michigan. They would not put Indiana on that
Alabama.
list. You're 1,000% correct. Go ahead.
Yep. The reason why I called this, I don't know if you saw this 60 Minutes last night with this sports writer who's retired named Dave Kindred. I don't know if you.
I did not. I didn't. I saw the promo. Kindred's been a wonderful writer. No, he's got to be about 80 years old. So when is he retiring? Anytime soon?
No, he has retired, and you got to watch it. The whole thing was about how he retired, and then he had some real tragedies in his life, and so he actually is a writer now for a girls' basketball team, and it basically saved his life being the writer for this little girls' basketball team. It's a really good little thing you need to see. And then my question to you, last but not least.
That is a good story. 60 Minutes last night. I should look for that. That's a good job on your part. All right, go ahead.
Do you think the NHL playoffs are going to be outstanding because of rivalries or terrible because they play the same guys so many times? I can't imagine watching it playing the same team for like the fourth time.
The latter. The NHL,
okay.
Good call, Kiko. The NHL, in my eyes, and I said it at the time. This is not a second guess. I said it at the time, and I know they got the 7 teams in Canada, so they had to figure something out. But just because they had Canada do that didn't mean they had the other 3 divisions do that. Having all these teams in the one division basically kill each other for 56 games, play each team 7 times, and then we're gonna, play 2 rounds to get him out of their division is absolutely absurd. I do not like that, and I don't know why you just can't mix it up a little bit. And don't tell me, well, it's because there's the borders closed. Do a bubble like they did last year. You can't sit there and tell me that we have to see Tampa and Carolina or Tampa and Florida go play a 7-game series after they played 7 games against each other here in the regular year. And I understand it's a little tricky with the Canadian border. I get that. As a caller brought up last week, did a good job, the guy in California. But still, it does. I hate what they did. They're going to hide behind the idea they had no choice because of Canada, but they love the rivalry stuff way too much in the NHL. They need to get out of it. We take a timeout. We continue. Good buddy today is it Zig or Bob Gallerstein? It's Bob. He's got a sports bite. He's on Mad Dog Unleashed.